We want to welcome you guys to L3 Perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Glenn Davis. I'm sitting here with my guy, Cameron Macias.
It's your boy, Killer Cam.
What's going on, guys? Hey, we want to welcome you back to the L3 Perspective. As you guys know, my name is Glenn. I'm sitting here with my guy, Cam.
Coach Cam.
Sitting here with Cameron Macias, man. But obviously, this is the podcast where we talk about life, love, and leadership.
Yep.
Speaking on leadership itself, so Cam and I had the opportunity today to actually go to one of the military bases and train and talk and give some practical principles to some of the junior leaders that are leading the next generation of airmen. And so before we even dive into that, man, how you doing today? How you feeling? What are you feeling right now?
I was so excited this morning.
Yeah.
So Glenn and I, obviously, we not only do the podcast together, like we do.
Talk to him,
man. We do like financial talks on the base. We do coaching. We talk about leadership. Because we're both very passionate about people being better, right. Like being the best version of themselves. And although obviously we can't control that, like we're very big on giving people the tools to do that, right? And so this has just been a morphing, so to say, from like first it was the podcast, then it was us being business partners, to now it's like doing workshops together. Right. And I feel like today was honestly a culmination of the last like 8 months.
Yeah.
Of like, how much we've talked and everything like that. And not only that, just like how seamless it was.
Right. Yeah. So just to give kind of a little backstory, I won't give y'all too much of the meat and potatoes, but it's amazing what you can do when you're constantly in communication with someone. Right. Like we were able to come together, 5 minutes, we created an idea, spent a little bit less than an hour just kind of like talking about the structure of it, and then days later executed it. And so and the feedback that we received, literally,
48 hours later.
Right. And so the power of communication and the power of leveraging each other's skill sets is something important. So this message is primarily to people that are leading people, right? Whether you're leading your families, whether you're leading your business partners, whether you're leading, whatever. This is just kind of shout out to you, or if you have an aspiration of being a leader.
Facts. And before we forget, as always, love, message us, tell us what you enjoy, tell us what you don't enjoy, let us know if there's any guests that you think should come on the show, things like that. And so moving forward, so like we talk about vision. So vision is something, honestly, I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about vision more than you. Yeah. If I'm being real, like for like, as far as like my friends, mentors, and like you hear it, like make sure people know the vision. But I think I hear that from you at least 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. So probably 6 or 7 years ago is where I really seen how important casting a vision for people is, right? Especially, again, as you mentioned, like I love leadership. I love talking about it, teaching about it, coaching about it, all that. And so having a family, number one, right? Like I understand wanting to change or break so many generational curses, right? And in order to do that, number one, you got to cast a vision. Yeah. Right. Like being in the military, wearing a uniform, like you lead so many people. We were kind of talking about this today, like the things that you can potentially say to that individual could either change the course of their life or have some significant type of impact. Maybe not in that chapter, but as they go through life, right? And so I think it's very, very important to cast a very clear vision when it comes to the positions that you're in when it comes to leading people. Yeah. So I'm intentional with that.
And how many people like don't talk about the vision for their family? Bro. Like everyone's like, oh, my vision for work or vision for my business, and it's it. But many people don't. At least I haven't heard many people say like, this is the vision for my family over the next 5 or like 10 years. Yeah,
that's true. And actually, this conversation today is inspiring me to go back and make sure, like, hey, bring the family together and talk about what is the vision for 2023.
Oh, y'all messing up. You're not meeting the vision. Get it together, there. Why don't you know quantum physics?
Need you to stack. You're 9. You're almost 10.
I need to know those lightsabers are like 10x.
For sure. But no, that is. Here's a challenge to anyone listening. if you have a family, if you just have a community of people, we are encouraging you to get with your family or get with the people around you that are in your circle and talk about vision. Like cast a vision for 2023 if you haven't already, and talk to people who will hold you accountable.
Facts. Oh yeah.
and share with them what your vision is, right? And so that's the plug right there.
Yeah.
I challenge you.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. And let us know. Let us know what you
found
out.
For sure.
So, and with vision, I think one of the things that a lot of organizations, leaders, whatever, one of the things that can be whether misinterpreted and or not maybe communicated correctly is the intent of things.
Right.
So like when we talk about the intent, it's not just like, to get this done.
Right.
But what are the second and third order effects?
Yes.
What are the things? How is this going to affect from the bottom to the top? Because I think a lot of times intent can be misconstrued by perception.
Yes.
So like, hey, the intent is this, but if you're at a higher level, you're just like, oh, whatever, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're at a lower level, that simple intent for someone at a higher level can be catastrophic to someone at a lower level.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, downsizing or things of that nature, it's like, oh, it's to save the bottom line. We all know the intent.
Yeah.
And say, yeah, but you just, set 20,000 people back 6 months.
Right.
They don't really care about your intent.
Yeah.
They in their minds, there was probably a different way.
Yeah. You mentioned, I was listening to you talk to one of the leaders today, and they were voicing their, how they interpreted the scenario that you pieced together.
Yeah.
And I think they were trying to justify why they may have received it a certain way.
Yeah.
But you were really just trying to, and this is just what I got out of it. You were really just trying to get them to see it from a different perspective.
Oh, for sure.
Because, and we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
How you lead one person, like you were talking about excellence.
Yeah.
Someone's excellence, person A's excellence may be different than person B's. And so going back to that intent, the same thing. You have a leader who could be in a position, person A, and another leader who is person B, and the intent may be received a different way. So when they're casting that vision or the message to their team, it could go south real quick.
Yep.
Or it could hit the mark.
Everyone's definition of success is different.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing, with us both being from the Air Force, like that was something where they talked about where like, why are we pushing people into management who don't want to be in management?
Right.
Because then it's a recipe for disaster. Yeah. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah. Why, and that goes for any organization. Why is it that if you want to make the big bucks,
right,
you end up having to lead people, even though you could be not a very good leader whatsoever?
Yeah.
Because then an improper metric comes, well, you were really good at your job. Which doesn't mean you're good at leading people in said job.
100%.
And so, it's like this, it's in this infinity symbol of like bad decisions that are made, all because people want to live better lives.
Right.
And so it's like, but someone who, just wants to, we always use the example, someone who just wants to turn wrenches. Why can't there be an opportunity for them to make the same amount as someone who's leading? Because their knowledge of turning a wrench is worth 15 people,
right?
When you look at it as a whole. So I think that's something that has to be taken into consideration kind of in all facets when we're talking about things.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I think everyone has greatness within them.
Yeah.
Right. But like you still have like jobs, you have structures that are designed there are some people who just want to be average.
Oh yeah.
Right. And while
they just want to do the thing and go home.
That's it.
And I like way respect that. But sometimes I wish I could.
But you need people like that. Everyone cannot be the chief.
Yeah.
They can't be the leader in a sense, as far as like the executive decisions, and they could be a part of that process.
Yeah.
But as far as like if you have too many leaders at the table,
too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Exactly. So man, I definitely agree with that.
And then we talk about the communication, but more importantly, like the execution.
Write this down.
Execution.
Yeah.
Execution. Yeah. So so at the table earlier, I
Mhm.
said something you liked, and it
Mhm.
was, as far as like being able to execute in a situation that you're in. And so in the communication piece, and then like being open to being open to feedback
Right.
or mentorship, right? And it was, you could sit at a table with Bill Gates, but if all you're
Yes.
asking him is what TV shows he watches,
Bro,
why are you sitting at a table with Bill Gates?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
what there's that question you see on or not question, there was like that guy who paid what, like $200,000 for a lunch with Warren Buffett.
Mm. Oh yeah. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. So dude paid $200,000 for 2 hours with the most successful stock market person in the world,
Yeah.
and in history, honestly. And he probably walked away with like $100 million worth of knowledge if he asked the right questions.
Right.
And he was open to listening to it.
Yes.
Because there was another one with Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, and he was talking to a guy who was asking him questions, and he kind of had the same, like, the guy kept interrupting him, and he's like, "Are you gonna let me talk? Like, what's the whole point of me being on your show and like giving you knowledge?"
Yeah.
You remember that? Yeah, he and dude was just like, "Sorry," and it's like, no, like,
be
quiet.
Yes. Yes. If you're in any leadership position, filling any leadership role, any leadership platform, you have to learn how to listen.
Yeah. That was something that coaching really helped me with. I wasn't always the best listener. And I'm perfectly fine, okay, saying that. I'm still not there's always improvement to be made. But if there was anything that I really think like my coaching journey helped me with, it was the active listening skill. It wasn't all the trainings in the military. It wasn't any of that. It was like, they call it pregnant pauses, the 30 seconds, and all those things, and realistically, like, just being locked into when someone's talking, and how exhausted you should feel. Like, if you feel energized, don't be wrong, like, there's energizing moments in conversation where you get hyped up, but in general, if you're in a in-depth conversation where you're doing more listening than talking,
right,
you should be tired.
100%. So I remember a couple years back, I don't know if I've seen a video or I've read this somewhere, but I remember, and this stuck with me, like, as a leader, it stuck with me. When you talk about listening, and I said this on a training that I did maybe 6-7 months ago, and it was just like, if you take the letters in the word listen, right, and you spell the word silent, it's those same letters.
It's the same letters.
Like, just flip those letters. And so for me as a leader, when it comes to like listening, I took that because it was like, there are some times where you're trying to listen to someone. But like your mind is just going all everywhere. Right. And so if you're in a relationship, if you're leading people, if you are on any platform of, like I said, they're just kind of feeling that leadership, you have to learn to be silent when you're listening. Take note of that.
Boom. That is crazy. You think that's a coincidence?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you?
Yes. 2 ears, 1 mouth. 1 mouth, 2 ears. Yes.
I'm just saying.
Designed.
So this is what the main things that we talked about today, and that's why we were super jazzed when we left. We just ate lunch, so that too. We had to eat lunch, and we had to do our debrief, our workshop debrief. But this was something that we really feel, and when we got done with the presentation, I'm sure a lot of people would say that they went really well, but the feedback that we got was really good. Like, and I think the biggest piece of feedback that we enjoyed is that the way that we ran our workshop is the people were able to, like, once again internalize what it was like to be at that lower level. They were like, I had to put myself into this that was mindset. And I don't feel like there's too many times where exercises, workshops, or other things in life we were able to do that. It's very hard to put ourselves back into the position that we were in previously. Let alone like really run through that scenario, like asking questions, like, and so I thought that was really cool. I
mean, it's almost like that saying, like, hey, don't forget where you come from.
Don't forget. And
I mean, the saying is nice, but like, because people who are striving for growth, right, they continue to grow to certain levels. It at times, if you're not self-assessing, it is easy to forget where you came from. Like, not not on purpose, but just
Yeah.
you have to make sure that you're able to tap back into, okay, if I need to deliver this message or deliver this vision to, the people that I lead, like how may they receive that, right?
Yeah.
And so putting your place back into that situation when you and your peers were at that level, like being able to understand how it can affect them or what questions may arise, because as a leader, you have to execute that vision.
Yeah.
So
Boom.
I love it. Today was it was a great opportunity. I think for both of us, I think talking and communicating with you every single day, it was good to it's always good to see you in your element, but I think that it kind of validated how when you're in sync with someone, how easily ideas can get created, but more importantly, how they can be executed.
Yep. Oh, that was like the first time, like that was like a real workshop.
Yeah, because like we filled in for each other on different aspects.
Yeah, and then we did the one but it was like super quick. Our slides didn't work.
Yeah. It was like a quick 5 minutes.
It was. This was like, no, I agree. So that's something, I would say last piece as we wrap up too is, recognize who you're communicating effectively with to the point where you can actually like execute things, right? Talking's dope, connecting is great. I'm all about that. However, when it comes to really getting things done, understand who you can get things done with.
Yes.
That will 10x your life.
Yes. And if you are leading people, take that seriously. Like, take ownership in that, because again, your words are powerful, right? And so it can impact the person positively or negatively. So take ownership of being a leader.
Facts. So as we wrap up, don't forget, like, love, share, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. Tell us, if you think there's guests that we should have on the show. If you want us on your show or whatever. But other than that, at the end of the day, have a vision. Make sure you know what the intent is. Make sure you're communicating it effectively. And at the end of the day, you can do all those. But if you don't execute, it means nothing.
It does.
So, hey, L3 Perspective. We'll see y'all later.